Coffee, check. Let's get down to Wayward Realms progress. Wayward Realms is the promise of once lost games to resurrect the design ethos of the Elder Scrolls II Daggerfall. If you've been following my content for 10 years, you'll know that I kind of favour the scale of Daggerfall, and that subsequent Elder Scrolls games feel a bit small and toy-towny to me. Whereas the promise held by something like Daggerfall could have been kind of magical. And that's what Once Lost Games are trying to accomplish. They're trying to build the spiritual successor to Daggerfall. After the drama of a year ago when Ian Phoenix, prominent Elder Scrolls fan and YouTuber, left Once Lost Games, it seems like quite a lot of progress is actually being made on Wayward Realms. In fact, the way Ian Phoenix described it, it didn't feel like there was really any progress made. And there were some alarming things that he said. A subsequent comment he made was that, "My biggest regret was thinking that Julian Lefay was all in on the project. He was clearly burned out on game development and didn't really have the drive to make a game unless he was magically hired to do so for a six-figure salary." It seemed like there was a lot of miscommunication and non-communication, and Ian Phoenix stated that he did not feel confident, he felt like a fraud, he could not be a cheerleader for the project, there was no clear direction, no singular vision. And having voiced concerns of this kind in June 2020, another Daggerfall veteran agreed with him and quit the project. Ian says there was a black hole-sized void of leadership and direction, constantly worrying, stressing out, not sleeping well. It sounds like Ian went through a tough time, and then he quit in middle of end of last year. And since then, there's been a lot of art coming out of Once Lost Games, and it feels like most of the outreach, certainly on Twitter, has happened since 28th of August 2020. They've been tweeting every 4 or 5 days, whereas before that, weeks would go by without a tweet. And on August the 1st, Wayward Realms opened their Steam page. Looking quite nice. This is a still from the trailer, we'll go over that. This looks like an updated version of the graveyards found all over Daggerfall. Lovely stuff. Murky, spidery wood. Fine. I like these sucky, crabby things. They look cool. The aesthetic choice for this shield is very nice. This will be in that underground library that I'm looking forward to reading about. This looks like an upgraded version of a Skyrim apothecary. I like what I'm seeing. And a doorway within or to the underground library. Very nice. We'll read the description briefly. Under the direction of Ted Peterson and Julian Lefay, lead developers of the team behind the original Elder Scrolls Arena and Daggerfall, Once Lost Games is creating a new open-world fantasy RPG where choice and consequence are experienced on a scale never attempted before. And this is lovely. I can feel my bias operating. I remember at the time not really wanting to believe Ian Phoenix, and I don't think he was malicious in anything he did. It could be that the progress we've seen since his departure is a result of the feedback. I mean, it could be. I don't know these people. It could be that they were just hoping Ian would leave. I hope not. I hope that isn't the case. I don't think so. I'm sure COVID and everything else really complicated the lives of the people involved, and now that we're all adapting to the new normal, things can begin to progress more or less once as they were. The Wayward Realms is set on a group of over 100 realistically scaled islands, known collectively as the Archipelago. Sounds a bit like Ea of Earthsea, where scores of factions vie for influence and power. Kingdoms strive to maintain their dominance, upstarts seek to earn a place at the top, and dynasties set generational plots into motion. Should the player earn a position of prominence, they may change the course of history. I hope, and I think it's their intention to work to make consequence really have some weight within this game, so I'd be curious to see how that pans out. However, they must first prove their worth battling rivals, mercenaries, monsters, spirits, and demons. On their quest for fame and fortune, players will venture through strange lands, delve into foreboding dungeons, and traverse kingdoms full of humans, elves, orcs, dwarves, and a few other unusual races. So it's going baseline, Tolkien-esque, plus extra. Welcome to the Archipelago, a massive world. No, really, way bigger than most other games you can think of. Big cities with hundreds of thousands of NPCs. I thought it said hundreds of thousands. It says hundreds or thousands. It's just a difference. Still good. Still good. Oh, that sounds wonderful. Because I harbour a big soft spot for Daggerfall's scale. It was so immense and immersive in the theory of it. But the design ethos of Daggerfall was kind of lost with later Elder Scrolls games, which from Morrowind onwards are kind of small worlds. And you can see from past videos what I think of that change, and I'm very glad that Once Lost Games is looking to rekindle this design philosophy. Hundreds of thousands of NPCs. Deep, dark, dangerous forests, gigantic mountain ranges, sprawling swamps and marshlands, vast oceans and more, brought to life through dynamic procedural generation. This is the clincher, the quality of this procedural generation. Now, Lucien Lachance? Julian Lefay has talked a lot about the manifold ways in which technology for this kind of thing has improved since certainly Daggerfall's days. It feels like Daggerfall was something of a proof of concept for how that kind of game would work, and this will be the next kind of test. I am worried about No Man's Sky syndrome, where players begin to recognize the patterns in everything and things just get repetitious and start to feel a bit dead. Procedural generation can't just be how things look. There'll have to be intricate layers of quests and NPC interaction, which makes the procedural generation feel alive. Constantly evolving experience and story. A virtual games master keeps things interesting for you, making other characters and their factions react, and plot their next move based on your actions, resulting in no two players having the exact same game experience. I'm mindful of Bethesda touting radiant AI and the kind of things that are said to make us get excited about games. However this pans out, I want to support this design ethos. I think they recognize that there's a big chunk of players, probably older people, who have played a lot of games and got bored of them because they're all basically reiterations of the same thing. Orcs Must Die 3! And people are beginning to look for more in the systems under the hood of many open world games. I think the Wayward Realms could be really excellently timed in terms of getting an audience for that. World events have very different effects in the life of a socializing aristocrat, a thief entrenched in underworld conspiracies, a scholar collecting ancient artifacts, or whatever role you craft for yourself. I would love it if you didn't have to kill anyone. I would really like that. I would love to have a character that was able to limit aggressive interactions by calming opponents. Like in most cases in life, you can talk your way out of anything, even if you're not necessarily providing the dialogue for that system. I mean, this happened in Daggerfall. If you have enough skill in various languages, a lot of enemies just won't be interested in attacking you. And that was the barest bones way you could implement a system like that. A constant nagging thing with me in Elder Scrolls in general is that the population of bandits and marauders always eclipses the population of NPCs. That's a problem of scale for games like the modern Elder Scrolls iterations. Real role-playing. You're not playing the same pre-baked warrior or mage, but a character class of your design, with customized skills and abilities to craft your own spells, potions, and enchantments. Sounds like Daggerfall. Nice. Want to try playing a character who is really, really outside the box? We got you. Now this is a big driver for them, I think. That'd be lovely. A world full of lore. We call it Wayward Realms for a reason. On the surface, things may have that familiar medieval fantasy look, but dig a bit deeper and there's a lot to learn. From the multiple moons in the sky, to the library's worth of books, to the multiple cultures of each race, there's always something new to discover. Have we looked at the trailer yet? So let's have a look at the trailer, finally. Sorry for the delay. So we have a skull and bugs. There are bugs. Now immediately, I'm thinking that this humanoid is too big for this horse, but I think maybe the horse is super strong. We don't know. Now the forest looks kind of dull, but this light is showing up nicely. That's a good blue. That looks like a portal. And he's going in. Look at the size of this orc compared to this horse. I think they might weigh the same, especially with his armor on. I like the idea of lore on ruins throughout the world. Reminds me a bit of Valheim, though I know Ted Peterson wanted this long before. Anyway, let's see where this portal leads. Right. So we have a big open world reveal, akin to... So let's just have a look at... Let's just have a reminder of the game that we're not going to get for about 5 years. Yes, yes. Starting with the mist. Is this quite loud? Okay. For my money, let's have a look. Now, obviously, comparing these is ridiculous because there's a huge difference in budget for these games, and you cannot expect that Wayward Realms is going to match the visual fidelity of The Elder Scrolls 6. But let's just have a look and make some cursory comments. Now, we can already see, well, this is as close as we get to anything. I'm looking at these mountains, well, I mean rocks. So what do we have? We have a settlement over here, we have a fortress there, out of the mist into the world, a bit like the Wayward Realms trailer. Good to take cues from Bethesda, I'm sure. Already there's a difference of scale. What we see in Wayward Realms already looks much bigger than this. This looks like, I mean, obviously I expect this to entirely change, because this I think is a few years old already. This is over 3 years ago now, and we've had nothing else. It looks like a land enclosed in mountains, of a single terrain type. Now we look at, first of all, huge or small horse. Good tree though, strong tree game. Already we're seeing vastly into the horizon. There's layers upon layers of distant mountains here. We have shadows happening in real time on these mountains and close up. We have border walls between provinces, I suppose. That's fantastic. I'd really like that to have been a mod for Daggerfall Unity, hopefully yet to come. We have procedurally generated settlements here, and a bit here. Let's just see if we can get a close view. That's as close as we can get. There's a good 20 or 30 houses. Can't see much in terms of roads, but it's a bit of a distance. A lot of these might look similar, but I mean a lot of houses do look similar. Early days I imagine they will need to find ways to vary the architecture. We have a border tower and a sort of fortress beyond. Something going on there. More wall towers. We have a fortress on the hill there, which makes sense for it being there. We have a cloud system throughout the mountains. We have what look like a kind of swampy area here, maybe? And misty. A forest there. We have a dragon. I think it's a dragon because it's quite big, flapping back there. Flying to the moons perhaps, and now it's flying backwards because I've looped this. And 3 moons. I love the wall. I mean, this is much... I like the birds as well. This is much more the kind of scale one would hope for from a game that purports to be a Daggerfall spiritual successor. I want to look at this. Now this is really nice. That's really nice. I guess this rocky thing could well be an asset. I don't really know how easy it is to put these things together, but it's selling the right idea, and I like its vibrancy. So let's look again. Good tree choice. At this in comparison to... I like the mist system going on around here. Clouds here, very nice. This is obviously a clear day. I'm trying to verbalize why I feel like I like this better. And I'm trying to ignore decades of baggage produced from Elder Scrolls disappointment since Daggerfall in terms of scale. Now, already with this you have more contrast, stronger color game. This has a sort of gritty FPS, grey kind of filter to it. I mean, if this is one of 100 islands, and this looks huge, this feels like the world is going to be enclosed in ocean and mountain ranges again. I feel like this is like one terrain type, with a glimpse of what looks like the ruin of a fort rather than a fort, and a coastal settlement. Whereas here it feels like there's a lot more going on. There's forest, there's town, there's swamp, there's mist. Mountain ranges that you can see beyond, rather than mountain ranges that feel like they trap you. Brighter colours, this feels like a more fantasy mood. And border walls. I like this. I like this. Let's just keep this rolling. It looks graphically quite ambitious. They will know better than me whether that's feasible. Because obviously in a game like this, you're going to have content at these mountains and wherever you go. But procedural generation, the technology may well be there. If you're going to implement it in an intelligent way, this could well be possible. I love this foreground. The only thing about this trailer is that really huge orc on a tiny horse. Maybe that's supposed to be humorous. I don't know. So it feels like a lot has happened in the last year since Ian Phoenix's departure. And I don't know whether that's due to Ian Phoenix's departure, because it sounds like from what he said that development didn't really begin on this game until after he left, which is weird. Oh, wonderful. I like it. I like it. It's communicating the right things. It's not tempering my expectations, though. Anyway, faction and lore systems are all being developed, so if you want to get involved, head over to the Council of Wisdom Discord and get involved. If you just search Discord, Council Wisdom, first link, and link there. The Council of Wisdom has been a tool used by the developers of Arena and Daggerfall since the early 90s, and they're carrying on the tradition here in order to get ideas rolling and so on. So that's all great. I was going to concentrate more on the Ian Phoenix departure, but it feels like old drama now that isn't necessarily relevant given the progress that's been made. It also feels like it's one side of the story, and it's probably complicated. I think since Ian Phoenix's departure I've been a bit down about the whole Once Lost Games thing, but as they're making progress I will look to pay closer attention to that. So, see you next time for more things!